The Lakers' practice facility has been the center of urgent conversation, discussions that go far beyond simple X's and O's adjustments or rotation tweak. There's a fundamental truth that Rob Pelinka and the basketball operation can no longer ignore, a defensive vulnerability that's been exposed repeatedly throughout this season and threatens to derail what should be a championship-caliber roster. The solution they're pursuing right now could completely transform offensive identity in ways that unlocks teams' full potential. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your most trusted and comprehensive source for breaking Lakers news, insider analysis, and exclusive coverage of everything purple and gold. I'm here to bring you the latest update, the most credible insights, and the strategic breakdown to keep you fully informed about every move our beloved Lakers make as we chase banner number 13. Today I'm bringing you critical information about a potential trade target that addresses our single biggest weakness, a move that the Lakers decision makers are actively exploring as we approach the February 5th trade deadline. Before I reveal which player Los Angeles is serious suing and why this acquisition could be the defensive catalyst desperately need, you need to understand the complete picture where our defense stands, why the moves we made haven't been enough, and what specific skill set this potential addition brings that nobody else on our current roster possesses. Let me take you back to last offseason when Rob Pelinka made defensive improvement his #1 priority. It was abundantly clear that offensive firepower wasn't our problem. With LeBron James still playing at an elite level, Anthony Davis dominating in the paint, and Austin Reeves emerging as a legitimate third scoring option, we had more than enough talent to put points on the board against anybody. Our offensive rating consistently ranked in the top 10. Our half-court execution was efficient, and we had multiple players capable of creating their own shot crunch time situation. The defense was a completely different story. We got torched repeatedly in crucial playoff moments. We struggled to contain elite guards on the perimeter, and our defensive rotations were consistently stepped slow. Pelinka understood that championship teams are built on defensive identity first, and he went out and signed Marcus Smart specifically to address this glaring. Smart brought exactly what we needed on paper, a tenacious point-of-attack defender with multiple all-defensive team selections, championship experience from Boston, and the toughness mentality that Lakers teams have historically embodied. Smart has been solid for us, providing that defensive intensity and veteran leadership that's invaluable during the 82-game grind. But here's the harsh reality that the numbers don't, despite Smart's presence, despite Jared Vanderbilt's occasional contribution health, despite Anthony Davis anchoring our interior. The Lakers currently have the 10th worst defense in the NBA when measuring points allowed per 100 possessions. That's simply not championship caliber defense, and in the Western Conference high-powered offense every single night, that defensive rating will get you eliminated first or second round. The defensive limitations go beyond just the overall rating. We're getting consistently beaten off the dribble by quick guard. We're surrendering too many open three-point looks because our rotations are, and we don't have enough plus defenders who can both guard their position and provide help defense without completely compromising our scheme. Smart can't do it alone, and Vanderbilt, excellent defensively when engaged, provides almost nothing offensive and frequently finds himself out of the rotation entirely because of that limit. Gabe Vincent is expected to return from injury soon, which will help on both ends of Vincent's two-way capabilities make him valuable, but we're still talking about incremental improvement rather than transformation change. What the Lakers need is a young, athletic, hungry defender who specializes in making life miserable for opposing guards, someone who can pressure the ball full court, create deflections and steals at an elite rate, and bring the type of defensive versatility that allows our schemes to be more aggressive and creative. The February 5th trade deadline is approaching rapidly, and according to credible reporting from Jovan Buha at The Athletic, the Lakers are planning to be aggressive in pursuing roster upgrade. This isn't going to be a passive deadline where we sit back and hope our current roster figures things out. Pelinka understands the urgency of maximizing whatever remaining prime years LeBron has left, and he knows that with AD playing at an MVP level, this is a legitimate championship window we cannot waste. Now, the Lakers don't have unlimited assets to work with, and that's important context for understanding what type of moves are. We only have one first-round pick available to trade right now, 2031 selection, which is 6 years away and therefore has less immediate value in trade negotiations than closer picks would. We also have several expiring contracts that could be useful to teams looking to clear cap space for next offseason, specifically Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Max Kleber. These are the primary trade chips we can deploy without touching our core players. There's been some speculation about whether the Lakers would consider including Austin Reeves in a major deal if the right opportunity presented itself. But let me be absolutely clear that there's zero indication from anyone inside the organization that they're considering that path. Reeves has become far too valuable, both on the court and as a cultural, to even contemplate moving him unless we're talking about acquiring a legitimate superstar, which isn't realistic given the current trade market. So within those constraints, limited draft capital and expiring contracts, our main asset, Rob Pelinka, has been working the phones with multiple teams trying to identify the fit. There's one particular player who's emerged as a realistic target, someone who addresses our defensive needs perfectly, who's still young and developing, who has a manageable contract, and who plays for a team that might be willing to deal him for the right package. The Sacramento Kings, intra-season themselves, sitting a quite breakthrough next-level confidence. They have some roster redundant certain positions, and they're always looking to add future. One of their young guards fallen out of the regular rotation season despite showing tremendous defensive potential here, and that's created a situation where a trade might make sense for both. The player I'm talking about is Keon Ellis, a 24-year-old guard who's built a reputation as one of the most tenacious point-of-attack defenders in the entire league despite limited playing time. Ellis went undrafted out of Alabama in 2022 but worked his way onto the Kings roster through sheer defensive effort and hustle. Last season, particularly after the All-Star break, he became a crucial piece of Sacramento's surprisingly effective defense, helping them rank as a top 10 defensive unit during the stretch. Let me tell you exactly what makes Keon Ellis special defensively, because this is where Lakers fans need to pay close attention. Ellis is what scouts call a master deflection artist, someone who has an uncanny ability to get his hands on the basketball without fouling. His hand-eye coordination is exceptional. His anticipation is elite, and he pressures ball handlers relentlessly from full court all the way into the half-court set. He's the type of defender who completely disrupts offensive rhythm and forces ball handlers into uncomfortable decisions. The numbers back up the eye test. Ellis averages 1.2 steals per game this season despite playing only limited minutes, which project to over 2 steals per game if he were playing 30 minutes consistently. His deflection rate is among the highest in the NBA for guard, meaning he's constantly getting his hands on passes and dribbles even when he doesn't come away with the steal. Those deflections disrupt timing, force turnovers, and create transition opportunities, which is exactly the type of defense. Beyond the steal numbers, Ellis's versatility is what makes him such an attractive target for the Lakers. He can guard both point guards and shooting guards effectively. He has the lateral quickness to stay in front of even the fastest players in the league, and he has enough size, 6'4", to not be a liability when switched onto bigger wing. That positional flexibility is invaluable in today's NBA. Switching defenses are becoming increasingly common. Offensively, Ellis is admittedly limited, and that's why his role has diminished in Sacramento. He's averaging just 5.7 points per game, 38.5% shooting from the field, and 35.5% from three-point range. Those are below average fish flex someone who's still developing offense game. However, last season Ellis showed significantly competent as a three-point shooter, knocking down open respectable rate when defenses ignored him. Here's why the offensive limitations might not be as problematic for the Lakers as they would be for other teams. We don't need Ellis to be a primary or even secondary scoring option. What we need is someone who can defend at an elite level, make the simple pass to keep the ball moving, and knock down open corner threes when teams help off it. That's a role Ellis can absolutely fill, especially when surrounded by the offensive talent we have with LeBron, AD, and Reeves creating most of our scoring opportunity. According to reporting from Evan Sidery, the Lakers have been in contact with Sacramento about Ellis, and the Kings' asking price includes at least one draft pick and potentially Dalton Knecht, part of the pack. That's where this trade gets complicated from a Lakers perspective, because we have to evaluate whether Ellis's defensive impact justifies giving up future assets and a young player with offensive upside like Knecht. Let's talk about Dalton Knecht for a moment, because he's been an interesting development this season. As a rookie, Knecht has shown flashes of scoring ability and three-point shooting that could develop into a valuable offensive weapon. However, he's also been inconsistent defensively and hasn't carved out a consistent role in the rotation yet. The question becomes whether Knecht's offensive potential outweighs the immediate defensive impact that Ellis would provide, and that's a legitimate debate. My honest assessment is that while Knecht has intriguing offensive tools, the Lakers' biggest need right now, and Ellis addresses that need more directly and immediately than Knecht addresses any of our needs. If Sacramento is insisting on including Knecht in the deal along with that 2031 first-round pick, Pelinka has to seriously consider it despite the risk of giving up on a rookie's potential. The 2031 first-round pick is 6 years away, which means its value is difficult to project. 6 years is an eternity in NBA timescale. That pick could end up being valuable if the Lakers are in a rebuilding phase by then, or it could be a late first-rounder if we've reloaded successfully around our next core. Given that LeBron will be 42 years old in 2031 and Anthony Davis will be 37, it's safe to assume the Lakers will be in a very different phase of their competitive cycle by then. The strategic question is whether you sacrifice that distant future asset to maximize your championship odds right now, while you still have LeBron playing at an all-star level and AD in his absolute prime. Championship windows are fleeting and unpredictable. The Lakers learned this lesson painfully during the years between the Shaquille O'Neal era and the Pau Gasol trade. You can't assume windows will stay open forever, and when you have genuine championship talent, you need to be aggressive about putting the right complementary pieces around them. I want to hear directly from Lakers Nation on this because your perspective matters. Do you think Keon Ellis would be worth giving up Dalton Knecht, 2031 first-round pick? How much do you value immediate defensive impact versus long-term asset preservation? Are there other players you'd rather see the Lakers target at the deadline? Drop your detailed thoughts and comments below because I genuinely read every single comment, and the discussion from this community always provides valuable perspectives that enhance how we think. Here's my comprehensive final analysis on this potential Keon Ellis trade. The Lakers desperately need to improve defensive if we're serious about contending for it, and Ellis brings exact type of elite point of attack defense we're missing. At 24 years old, he's young enough that his best basketball is still ahead of him, and his defensive skills are NBA ready right now. Yes, giving up Dalton Knecht 2031 first-round pick is a real cost, but championship windows demand aggressive action. Ellis would immediately become our second-best perimeter defender behind Marcus Smart. He'd allow us to deploy more aggressive defensive schemes, and he'd give us the versatility to match up against elite guards throughout the Western Conference playoff. If Rob Pelinka can execute this trade, I believe it significantly improves championship season and positions us better deep playoff run. Make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report. Smash that notification so you never miss every move leading up to February deadline. This is your headquarters for comprehensive Lakers coverage that goes beyond surface-level reporting to provide the strategic analysis you need. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this incredible Lakers community. And let's keep believing that Rob Pelinka and this organization will make the championship caliber move. Lake Show forever.